Good afternoon, people. Welcome back to another video where I'm bringing you that daily cryptocurrency news. In today's video, we got MicroStrategy weighing in on lending out Bitcoin. We have South Park making fun of NFTs, and CBDC tracker shows the Federal Reserve is falling further behind. So those three articles and the Fear and Greed Index 2 to look forward to. So let's dive right on in as we see prices have been low. So moving in, MicroStrategy weighs lending out its Bitcoin haul for yield. Michael Saylor discussed the possibility of MicroStrategy lending Bitcoin on Thursday during a company call. Bitcoin's largest corporate holder may be lending out the asset to counterparties. MicroStrategy discusses lending out its Bitcoin after accumulating 122,478 Bitcoin. MicroStrategy may look at putting its holdings to work in the future. On a Thursday call with a shareholders, the business intelligence company CEO MicroStrategy discussed the option of generating debt from its Bitcoin and lending the asset out to the counterparty. He said there may be opportunities to either put a mortgage against it and generate long-term debt under favorable circumstances, which we could leverage up against the Bitcoin, or we think that we could lend it to a trustworthy counterparty. MicroStrategy placed an initial $250 million bet on Bitcoin back in August 2020 and has taken an unorthodox approach to increasing its reserves since its first Bitcoin buy. It's issued 2 convertible bonds, ran a debt offering of senior secured notes, and a securities offering to sell its Class A common stock in a bid to raise funds to buy more Bitcoin. With various Bitcoin purchases the firm has made over the last 17 months, it now holds over 0.5% of the Bitcoin supply, worth over $5.6 billion. Crypto lending has become increasingly popular in recent years, not least in the favor-growing DeFi niche. DeFi users routinely deposit their crypto assets to liquidity pools in exchange for yield, but as DeFi is largely based on Ethereum, Bitcoin isn't the first asset of choice for earning yield. To put Bitcoin to work, crypto users typically deposit a wrapped version of the asset in DeFi or lend it out to a centralized service such as Kraken or Celsius Network. During the call, Saylor discussed how lending out Bitcoin could be lucrative for MicroStrategy. That could become a good source of income for us, or we could develop it with some kind of interest applications, he said. It's unclear how those applications would look, but the growing interest in DeFi on Bitcoin means that holders like MicroStrategy could potentially natively earn yield on applications based on the Bitcoin blockchain in the future. Jack Dorsey's block is currently planning to build a Bitcoin-based decentralized exchange called TBDEX, which is promising will create ubiquitous and accessible on-ramps and on-ramps that allow the average individual to benefit from crypto innovations. Saylor also discussed the possibility of Bitcoin-backed bond market emerging in the future. I think that we're still a little bit too soon to say whether there's a good Bitcoin-backed bond market, but I look forward to exploring that in the future, he said, before confirming that he would consider such a bond offering in the future. Saylor also said that MicroStrategy would continue to be looking into the issuing equity and corporate debt, both with a view to buy more Bitcoin. While Saylor and MicroStrategy haven't wavered on their belief in Bitcoin, the market has shown less confidence in past weeks. The leading crypto assets trading at $46,800 at press time, 32% short of its November high. MicroStrategy shares are also down since November, currently changing hands of $577.77. So yeah, MicroStrategy discussed that we'll potentially see in the future. Like, not right now. There's some, but we're just still waiting. We're still developing and still moving forward. So that's that news. Let's move on. Funny one. Great, hilarious episode. South Park excoriates NFTs as investments in latest vision of post-COVID-19 future. Another 30 seconds in that room and you would have started considering NFTs as a viable investment, was just one of the jokes that showed used comparing NFT investments to insanity. Spoiler alert, it was Butters. Apparently, it only took a pandemic for writers behind the animated TV series South Park to offer their take on non-fungible tokens, NFTs, and cryptocurrencies, and it's not a positive outlook. In its post-COVID, The Return of COVID special that aired Thursday, South Park depicted one of the show's protagonists, Leopold Butters Stotch, also known as Victor Chaos. They pronounced it Victor Chaos to make fun of it to hide Butters' identity. But locked away in an insane asylum for years after it's discovered, He has a certain power to wreak havoc on the world. The power gathering investors to put all their money into NFTs. When he manages to get out of his cell, the results is comical violence, comparisons to drug use, and the possible downfall of society. He escaped once before. In just a few hours, he managed to get thousands of people to invest in NFTs, just like he almost did to you. Another 30 seconds in that room, and you would have started considering NFTs as a viable investment. That was said from the psychiatrist. Let's play this.
It was like nothing I ever saw. Just complete murder and carnage. Everything seemed calm at first, but then this guy in a suit shows up talking about investment opportunities. Next thing you know, these people over here started chanting, hodl, hodl, and their NFTs started mooning. And then these guys over here started saying those guys right there right-clicked them and called for a pump and dump, which made these guys beat the living hell out of anyone who said it was just FOMO and died screaming that it was the flippening. Luckily, I came out of it okay. I got this little miniature donkey with a lit-up sombrero. Did you see where the guy in the suit went afterwards? No.
Oh, so funny. Got this little guy with sombrero. This was a funny episode. Like, South Park hits everybody. But through references, aspects of the crypto space and mainstream media has become somewhat common. South Park, which often tackles topical issues with a comedic twist, seems to have avoided mentioning token projects with seemingly absurd names for the last 10 years. Bitcoin only made its first appearance on the show in November, and though everyone in South Park's fictional future of the 2060s still used the cryptocurrency as a meme exchange, they also described it as a fly-by-night Ponzi scheme. South Park's vision of a world roughly 40 years from now implies that frenzy around NFT drops is unlikely to subside. For many investors, this week, Wikipedia entered the space for the first time, selling a tokenized version of the first message posted to its website in 2001 for $750,000. However, some NFTs have been auctioned off for millions of dollars and traded for valuable real-world items, including cars. So yeah, South Park made fun of NFTs, and it was hilarious. Go watch the episode if you haven't. It's on Paramount Plus. Get a free month of it if you're a first timer. That's what I used, so I might have to resubscribe because I'm kind of getting hooked. And lastly, in our news articles, CBDC tracker shows US falling further behind. So yeah, this ain't good. Of the big four central banks, including those of the EU, UK, and Japan, only the Federal Reserve has not progressed beyond research mode in central bank digital currencies. A nonpartisan global leadership organization, the Atlantic Council, released a 6-month update of its central bank digital currency tracker. December 13th, among its key findings is that the number of countries exploring their own fiat digital currencies accelerates. The United States remains stuck in the research mode and further losing ground. The Council Geoeconomics Center, which examines the intersection of economics, finance, and foreign policy, launched its interactive database in July 2021 and updates it quarterly. The tracker now follows 90 countries, up from 80 6 months ago. Among the signs of acceleration, the center found that 87 countries are exploring CBDC, compared to 35 in May 2020. 9 countries have fully launched CBDC, all in the Caribbean, except for the most recent launch of the first in Africa, the e-Naira. Of Nigeria, 14 countries, including China and South Korea, are in the pilot phase and possibly preparing for a full launch. The Federal Reserve's perceived doubling has far-reached and serious global and domestic implications. The way the dollar is set up and exchanged through messaging systems like SWIFT has been a coordinated force for the entire world and a standard setting for us, said Josh Lipsky, director of the Geoeconomics Center and former senior advisory at the International Monetary Fund. That's a long name. In an interview with Forecast News, you have a lot of different systems developing, and it's unclear whether they will be able to work with each other or not in the near future, and if when the US comes in, how their digital dollar will align with all these other CBDCs that are being built. So the basic takeaway is people are not focused enough on cross-border right now, and they should be. And it goes on about China, which other countries go on. But yeah, like the US is falling behind and they need to get on it because like what's going to happen for the cross chain? Like no one's paying attention to the cross border cryptocurrencies. You don't need borders. It's a borderless transaction now. Say I'm over here in the United States and I want to send Bob from Australia $10 worth of Bitcoin or Litecoin. I hit send because he sends me his address. The loop, bam, he gets it instantaneously. If it's Bitcoin, it's probably 45 minutes. But to get the point is there's no borders holding us up from me getting him the asset he needs to spend in the real world. So that's just it. CBDCs, banks, and the Federal Reserve, they just got to get on it. And to close things off, we look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. We are at a 23 right now. For those of you who don't know, this is a tool used for when investors are getting too worried. That can be a sign that it's a great buying opportunity. So we're in extreme fear. That's a great time. But when investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for a correction. So yeah, that's just what happens. Like when we see it move up, like I usually stop buying and it's like, okay, let's give it a little bit of a wait. Let's see if the dip happens, and bam, we're in extreme fear because the dip did happen. But yeah, so we're at 23, extreme fear, great buying opportunity. Whoa, what was that? That was the first time I ever heard this. Like it just looked like it shot down $1,000. Bitcoin is now at 45,789. This is a movement going on. And well, that really kind of shook me hearing that thunder going on. But that's about it, people. Bitcoin's still moving. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your friends. It helps with the algorithm, and I always love it and appreciate it. So until next time, the Crypto Sherpa is out.